All right, welcome back to another video, everybody. On one of my previous videos, I got a lot of feedback and positive feedback. I wasn't sure how many of you out there were still like shooting and taking photos on DSLRs. A couple of you have mentioned just sort of maybe lens recommendations for these cameras. Seems a lot of you out there have D7000s and D90s and that D7100s, 7500s, all those. So this is pretty much my setup. I'm a minimal guy, minimalist for like gear and stuff. I've gone through the whole like gas syndrome and acquiring every lens under the sun, but I've kind of just narrowed it down, and half of these I still don't even use most of the time. First, we're just going to start off. If you have a crop sensor camera, if you have a crop sensor Nikon and even a full frame sensor, I highly recommend this be your first purchase outside of your 18 to 55 kit lens, which I'll get to in a sec. But this guy right here, it's a 35mm 1.8 DX lens. It's an amazing lens. It's a beautiful lens. It renders beautiful images, and it actually does, how do I say this, 95% work on full frame. I actually use this for my film cameras. I have an F90X and 90S for any of you those in the States. It actually works, and yes, you get a little bit of vignetting, but it's easily correctable in post, and it's hard to beat that 35mm f1.8 for $150. That's how much these are kind of going for used now. You can still kind of get them maybe $200 brand new, but that's hard to beat for a 35mm lens at f1.8 with autofocus that mostly works on full frame cameras. And obviously it's going to work on crop sensor cameras way better. Super sharp lens. I really have no complaints using this lens. It's tiny. I love it. I really am not a big lens guy. I really like smaller lenses and stuff. And this fits pretty much anywhere. You can put it in your bag. I'll swap it onto the camera right now, actually. That's it on the D7000. It matches the body really well. It doesn't stick out too far. It will work as well if you have like a new Z-mount Nikon camera. You can get the F to Z-mount adapter, and it's going to work just fine. I'll see if you could hear the autofocus. It's pretty silent, but it does have... I don't know if you can hear that. So there's a little bit of sound, but it's really like, that's me putting it this close to the microphone I have above me right now. In real world use, unless you're in a super quiet area, you're not even going to hear it. It's pretty much silent if you're on like the street, if you're at a shoot, if you're at like a wedding ceremony. No one's going to be hearing an autofocus just scream in the background. Like I said, that'd be my first recommendation. And it's hard to beat. It really is, for what you're getting and what you're paying for. And yeah, for a 35mm 1.5 or 1.8, sorry, to have it this big. With this lens, I do find it's acceptable at f1.8. In the right conditions, you can get very sharp images. But I usually shoot it at f2. I'll stop it down to f2, and then I find everything just gets like incredibly sharp. I did have to adjust the back focus issue on this one. It did a little bit, so I think I'm at -10. So on D7000, I don't know if you could do it on the D90, but on the D7000, 7100, 7500, and I believe any of the full frame cameras as well, you can AF fine tune that lens. So I had to do mine at -10, and once I did that, it was incredibly sharp. Like it nails focus every single time now. Daylight, nighttime, whatever. It nails it almost every single time. Moving on, it's, you know what? For an 18 to 55 kit lens, it's hard to beat. DXVR2 18 to 55 G lens. It packs away really tight. My only gripe with it is that it's ugly. Like at 18 millimeters, it sticks out and it looks horrible. That's just my opinion. I really don't like the look of it. That's 18 millimeters, 24 millimeters, 35 millimeters, 45 millimeters, 50, and 55. And it's kind of weird how it kind of goes like in and out. Pretty ugly lens, to be honest. You know what I like about this lens though? One, it's actually extremely sharp, and I really love the color contrast and the color rendition that this lens gives. There's just some sort of look to this lens. It's I don't know how to describe it, but I really enjoy the photos I get from it. I don't know how I feel about the button as well to lock it. I do like how it actually locks though, because that means it's not going to open up like in your bag or anything like that. But it's a kind of a pain that you have to press it every time you want to open it. However, optical quality wise, AF speed, AF. I haven't had to AF tune this lens. This one's been like just rock solid straight out of the gate. It's got VR, works great. It's got autofocus, pretty silent, and yeah, the image is sharp. So that'd be my second recommendation, which you probably, if you're getting one of these cameras, it'll come with it already. This one actually I had to buy separate, oddly enough, but it's like $100. So I figured pick one up, and it's a good beat around lens. I don't really care if I mess it up or anything. Third on the list, I love this lens. It is a 70 to 200 AF-D lens. Yes, you heard that right. That's a 70 to 200 lens. It's an f4 to 5.6. No VR, no image stabilization. Autofocus is very loud. However, you get pretty decent results with it. I'll post a couple pictures on the screen of shots I've kind of gotten with this lens. You know what? For $100, you can even hear it. Like, it's a loud lens. It is what it is, but it's pretty sharp. It extends, so that's 70 actually. I should have shown you that. That's 70, and that's 200 millimeters. I throw it on the body right now so you can kind of get a look at it. On a body like this, on a DSLR body, it actually does balance pretty well. And for what it is, the AF being an older like film lens, it is pretty quick as far as like focusing. You'll hear it in a sec, but it's loud. No matter where you are, you will hear this lens from a mile away focusing. However, it's actually incredibly quick to focus. And I've pretty much just keep this lens in my car. It's been a beat around lens. I just throw it in there. I don't really do too much telephoto stuff, which is why I didn't want to invest in a telephoto lens. There's a lot of them out there. There's like, I think if you want a DX lens, a crop sensor, there's like a 55 to 200. There's a 70 to 300. I don't know what it is. I've always kind of gone for full frame lenses as far as telephoto goes. I just find at least most of them, the quality's better. But this one I found for like $100. Hard to say no, and at least I have some sort of telephoto capability, even though I don't use it much. What can I say about this? Like I said, I'm a small lens guy. This is just a 50 millimeter pancake lens, E series. It's from 1975, I believe. It's from my old Nikon FE, my film body. It works with the camera. It's a manual focus lens. It's sharp. I mean, you can get though the 50 millimeter f1.8 D lens, G lens, S lens, I think. Either way, there's a lot of variations of these. I just like this one because it's so small, and I already had it for my film body, so I figure I don't really need to go buy a new one. However, they're cheap anyway. I mean, you can find this one for like $50, $100. You can find the autofocus versions for 150 to 200, somewhere in there. So those are kind of my recommendations on like the lenses I would, well, obviously I would get them because I have them, but those would be my recommendations for if you're getting into photography and just kind of get all your bases checked. If you had to get two lenses, 100%, the 18-55, that'll give you a bit of like zoom range. You get your wide angle and you can kind of get your telephoto. And this would be my second, the 35mm f1.8. Just for the low light shots, f1.8 aperture, super sharp lens, and you can kind of do some portraits as well because it's a 50mm equivalent full frame. So yeah, you get really nice portraits with this. That'll be my portrait lens, and then this will be like your just general photography lens. Those two will kind of have you covered right off the bat, and then you can source out from there. You can expand, experiment, whatever sort of route you want to go with your photography. Kind of, you can go on your own way after that. That's it for this video. That was a quick video, just kind of a answer, call to action sort of thing. I saw it in the comments, so I figured why not make a video on it. And yeah. Thanks so much for watching. That's it for this video. If you want to subscribe and follow along with the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. And if you do, then we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.